Hello, this is Lisa Hazard and Misty Lore and Donna. Donna is here again for another tarot talk. And this is a podcast where we're all psychic. And we think we're all psychic. We've discussed it, and we don't need to go over that question, I guess, again. Unless, Donna, you have some updates on that.
I still feel that we are, in fact, all psychic.
I feel that way, too. Good deal. So, today, listeners, we are going to have some Halloween tarot talk fun. If you had listened to our tarot talk 2 with Donna, we went through, picked through 3 different, picked 2 cards and then shuffled the deck and picked a random card and talked about them. So for this one, Misty and Donna and I picked 2 cards with spooky themes or horrifying themes. And Misty and I are using the Rider-Waite tarot deck, and Donna's using the Thoth deck. So we're going to, if you want to look it up.
Yeah. And I've got Rider-Waite up too. So.
She does. She got them both.
Yeah, I've got them both up just in case, because the imagery, while it's similar, it is certainly not the same. And so I'll try to use the images.
That's right. That's awesome. So, listeners, we would love hopefully this will give you some Halloween fun, and will be terrifying, and you'll stay up at night crying like the woman in the 9 of Swords because of this podcast and the stories we're going to tell. So, I'm going to go first because I don't think Misty's ready yet, unless you want to go first, Donna.
Nope, jump in.
All right. So,
I will follow.
So, listeners, what we're doing with our first cards that we picked a card. I picked a card from the Rider-Waite's deck, but we picked a card that we personally find terrifying, and why. So I picked out of the Rider-Waite the Judgment card 20. This card is freaking zombies. Just look at these people in this card. They're blue. They're naked. This angel is passing judgment. It's not a nice looking angel. It looks kind of angry. And look at they're all coming out of their coffins. So it reminds me of, the Bible. I don't know much Bible verse stuff. I don't know much Bible. I wasn't really taught it. But it just reminds me of how supposedly in some religious and Christian religions, they believe that you're dead until a judgment day, and then you rise up out of your tomb and you're like zombies in this picture, and it's just terrifying. They've been in there forever, and they're all blue, and they're all in the water floating up. It's just, I don't know. It just terrifies me. But that's what it reminds me of. Because I always thought that was a terrifying theme in religions to have, that when I die, I'll just be doing something else until a judgment day when I get to go to somewhere, it's zombie, exactly, rotting alive. Kind of.
Well, for a long time, I did not really realize, because I was actually raised in the Catholic faith. And while they're really big on catechism, they're not particularly, or at least they weren't when I was a child, big on actual Bible.
Right.
They teach catechism, which is it's their religious dogma. So it's not Bible study, which for a lot of Christians, everything is centered around Bible.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot of morals from the Bible with the stories, but that's about all they're used for.
So I did not realize for a long time that the idea of the resurrection of the second coming, right, when Jesus comes back for everybody, that it meant the literal resurrection of the body, not that our souls would be called up to heaven or wherever. But
somebody did. Rider-Waite.
Literal bodies coming up out of the grave. And I'm thinking, well, okay, I was always pretty logical. And so my first thought was, there have been people that have been dead for a really long time.
It's some dust particles just rise up and go.
Exactly. I mean, the physical body is no more. Right? It ain't down there.
I don't know. There's always been a part of me that's been a little terrified of being buried alive. And the idea of that belief system that you do stay alive, and not alive, but your body does stay whole. It doesn't matter if it doesn't or not in some of these belief systems in science, but because God will preserve it until you pass judgment. So I think that's terrifying, and because you're conscious kind of in the way it's told to me and explained to me by people. So you're not conscious. You're just like existing, like in the ground, waiting to be judged. That just sounds terrifying to me.
To me, that's a really terrifying. That's a really
That's why the judgment card scares me sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of a soul detached from a body that's doing whatever it's doing outside of the physical plane, I don't find scary.
No, yeah, that'd be cool. That's you know,
the body is just. I mean, it's a shell, and you know, just like a. You know, you find an empty shell on the seashore. It's not scary. It's cast off. It's no longer inhabited. But the idea that some form of consciousness or awareness would continue in a physical body that was buried is
because I mean these bodies in this picture, I mean they're alive. They have these faces. I mean they don't alive. I mean they're bodies, but they're blue. I mean they're just. And they're all like in the same pose with their arms outstretched and raised up toward the angel. And the angel has red wings, which, you know, red in angel colors is usually a really kind of aggressive for angels. And not always, but it is. And that red cross white flag, I don't know what that is. It probably has some symbolism that I'm not aware of. But when I read about tarot symbolism, gray clouds are like doubts. There's some doubt around truth. So something about that is terrifying too. Yeah, with that angel.
I think that card really says it all. The judgment. I mean, all of us don't like to be judged. You know, and
it's a big problem.
You say judgment. Somebody, when somebody says, you know, the judgment is coming. That means you're like, oh shit, you know, all the bad stuff I've done in my life is coming back to me now. You know? And you don't think about the good stuff, but you think about the bad stuff. So, it's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, and the idea that it's the last judgment, right? It's the final judgment. It's where it's where they're going to separate, you know, the everlasting living from then the truly dead, right?
Or the zombies. They're kind of dead. They're kind of alive. They're blue. Okay, Donna, are you ready for your card? Your terrifying card?
Yeah. You know, I will tell you, and I will preface this statement with I don't find it to be so because I've used it for so long. But I know for a lot of people, especially if I'm reading for a client, and they haven't either seen the Thoth tarot or they're not familiar with it. But even a lot of seasoned readers that I've known over the years have told me that they find the entire Thoth deck disconcerting or outright scary.
Really? Is it because of the mythos or is it because of the tarot deck?
I think it's because of the imagery. I mean, a lot of the imagery is really very, it's, you know, again, you think about Rider-Waite, you think about the death card, you think about the devil. I mean, these are concepts that most people don't find, you know, appealing. They're dark. There's something that I've always found kind of, exactly. They're scary images just in and of themselves. But the way Crowley worked with Lady Harris for color schemes and shape. But there's something really dynamic about it. I find that the Thoth has a lot of dynamism. The images look like they're moving, even though they're clearly not.
And that's a good point.
And you're right. Yeah, you're right. Nobody ever wants to get the death card, but you know they don't understand the whole meaning to it. You know,
exactly. They're taking the literal meaning, and of course it's scary. And then you know you look at the Thoth tarot death card. And he's not some stately skeleton guy who looks like a nobleman riding on a horse. He's like dancing. I mean, he's got this like really vibrant energy. He's very, you know, you think of skeletons. I mean, you know, they're bones, right? So they're solid and stiff and kind of, you know, he's fluid and literally he is dancing. So it's like, whoa, wait a minute.
I'm looking him up on my phone right now.
Yeah. It's like, okay,
I'm looking at him too.
And his, you know, and he's swinging that scythe and he is just like, he's he loves his job.
Oh,
right?
he's wonderful.
Yeah,
He does love his job.
Oh, this is
What is his head?
Yeah, it's a big helmet. It's
It
like
looks.
a big Osiris.
It reminds me of like a funnel teapot or something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually supposed to be the
red
Osiris.
coming out of it.
I think
That's
though it's supposed to be like when you see Egyptian images of Osiris,
Yeah.
his head gear.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
It's
sense.
actually supposed
That
to be
makes sense. It's Egyptian. They love the
But
Egyptian.
it does look like a teapot.
Just what I saw. But of course, I've got watermarks on my image right here.
Yeah.
But it's also the spirits in this death card. Like the people in the Rider-Waite look like, these guys look pretty happy.
They're again, very fluid.
Except for the one girl.
The one
The
girl.
one girl in the white is like looking away, like, oh, I don't want to see you. I know you're coming.
Oh, I see her.
Look at you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I see who you're talking about. Yeah.
But the child is like, hey, what's going on?
Right. Just very, it's just got a really different feel. But again, I mean, is it scary?
It can mean so many things too.
Yeah. And the idea that, you know, obviously the way we think about death, our experiences with death, I mean, actual death, not the symbolic death that the card typically is trying to address, which is change. But it's also a change that every living thing goes through. One that we're guaranteed of, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it can be a little bit, I mean, again, I love the card, but I also find or can see what would be scary about the image, or at least very arresting about the image, especially the first time I looked at it, or the first time I really started looking at it in depth. So yeah, that's one that's definitely a scary one. And the Rider-Waite one is actually, again, especially if you're looking at it as a literal thing, then yeah, of course, you know, death is not something that most of us are completely comfortable with, or at least not, you know, not all.
No.
Yeah, whether it be transformation or literally death itself, or, you know, starting something new, you know, all that's frightening.
Yeah, change and the unknown.
The unknown. Yeah. Both at the same time. That's the worst.
Yeah.
Big change, big unknowns, like moving because you have to and you have no money or something like that to a place where you don't like it. Something like that because it pops into my head, you know, because you don't know a soul or something.
Well, yeah, and again, a lot of changes are forced.
Yeah.
I'll say forced upon us. They're not right. So that we chose, we find that we need to change whether we were prepared for it or wanted to or not. So
Right.
Yeah.
So Misty, what'd you pick for your scary
this
card?
is kind of a hard one, but after looking through all of them, I would have to say mine is going to be the Tower. And the reason why is because there are people jumping out of a tower it's on fire. And that was terrifying to me. And also, you know, when you know the meaning of it, I mean, it means a disaster's coming, you know, you better get ready. It's going to be bad. Nothing in this card sounds great to me. You know,
it's not a good time usually.
My death, you know,
In that, yeah, I used
it's not.
I used the Osho Zen mostly when I was reading tarot for a long time before I started using the Rider-Waite system and different decks. And that tower is called Thunderbolt, and it's like always been a positive card. So I kind of have mixed feelings about the Tower card because of my experience for like 10 years reading with that Osho Zen deck or whatever along, you know, and the Thunderbolt card, and people would be like, oh, it's the Tower, isn't it? And I'm like, what's the Tower? And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, okay. But then I read, you know, I just went with what my Osho Zen deck taught me. But it's the idea of like, it's like when you see it for the card of the day or something, when you pull it for yourself, it's just like, oh.
Yeah, it's like,
Pick
okay.
another card.
Yeah,
Who?
it's like nobody's around. Can I cheat?
Yeah.
Can I pull a different card?
Yeah. Nobody saw that.
You can. You can. I said so.
Or you know,
And,
again,
and even reversed, it's still bad. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not as bad, but it's still bad.
I don't usually see it that
So,
bad
of course,
reversed.
they're bad. It's just coming, I guess, you know, or you're avoiding it.
Avoiding it, yeah.
But still, I don't want anything to do with this card.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want it.
oh no. No, I will pass.
So next, listeners, and if you want to join us, I think there's a thing on my Anchor hosting app now where I can put a poll up and you can vote if you want to. So I'm going to try to remember to do that, and I'll put a poll up there and you can vote for your scary card. So next we're going to pick a card that that reminds us of a scary story. So I picked I'll go first again, make it fun. Out of the Rider-Waite, I picked the Hermit. And I do have a story.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, okay, for me, a lot of times the Hermit reversed is my crazy card anyway. So when it's reversed, it's really scary. But this goes back to when I was in Girl Scouts in 4th grade. And I went on a trip, like, what is it, overnight Girl Scouts trip to a cave. And we spent the night in a cave and went spelunking. I was like 4th or 5th grade. And with a bunch of Girl Scouts and a priest and the Girl Scout leaders, like the women, the mothers who ran it. And it, like, we went all through the cave. I mean, it was really fun, but it was also pretty scary. But when we got to where we were going to camp for the night, the priest tells this story. He said, "Let's tell scary stories." And we had a fire. And earlier in our trip through the cave, spelunking, I just like saying that. There we heard water, you know, and this is where we ended up sleeping near where we heard this water, and we went up there, and there was a big metal trash can catching spring water, and it was spilling out the trash can too, like one of those aluminum trash cans from way back. And you could just take your hands and just drink out of it. And it was the most pure, most delicious water I've ever had in my life. And it's ice cold. Anyway, so the priest is telling the story. You can hear the water where we are. He says, in this cave, there's a cave hermit. And he'd been making jokes about the cave hermit all along. But then, you know, when it was scary story time, he started telling us about the cave hermit. And he was terrifying. He liked to eat little girls and stuff like that, you know. And it was supposed to be scary stories. We were all laughing and stuff, you know. And so in the middle of the night, I woke up. And I heard this like squeaking we had to carry all our stuff in trash bags because it was really muddy. And I heard the squeaking bouncing, and I looked over, I could kind of see with a flashlight that I really quickly turned on under my sleeping bag that it was like something in the bag alive. And it scared the crap out of me. I turned off my light, and I was just so scared. And I kept hearing it. And then I went back to sleep just because I got so scared. I just kind of passed out. And then I woke up again, and I didn't know why. And I was just like, everybody was so quiet in that cave. Everybody was asleep. And all of a sudden, I heard the trash can fall down. Down into it started bouncing off the walls when it was falling. And I knew that cave hermit did it. I knew he did.
Yeah.
I was terrified because the cave. I mean, no, because he told us the guy was there and where he lived. He drank that water at one point. I mean, he told us all this stuff. So I was convinced. I was like a little girl, and I loved the story. And I knew that cave hermit. So I still have, like, when I see that card, I always think of the cave hermit. Because he scares me.
Oh, yeah.
Because he woke me up and scared the crap out of me when that trash can, because it was metal. You could hear it bang, 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 bang. Anyway, so that's my scary story. Donna, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess this isn't, I don't know. I guess it is scary because I've been around for a while. And I've been through some really, dark periods in my life, which I think we all have. I think one of the cards, this is a lot less primal than yours. And I did have some scary experiences when I was a kid because I would see stuff, right, that I didn't necessarily understand.
Yeah.
But I don't really have, I wanted to kind of explore and see if there was a card that triggered any of those particular memories for me. And I didn't have one that really did that for me the way the Hermit does for you. But I will say that going through an exceptionally bad period at one point, I picked the Ten of Swords in both the Rider-Waite and in the Thoth. And in Thoth, it's a little more, I mean, it's clearly not a pleasant card in either deck.
No, it's brutal.
Right.
Yeah.
The 10 in the Rider-Waite is, the poor person is, lying, prone, and 10 swords are driven into the
his back. Yeah.
Stabbed in the back, right? And then in the Thoth, it's a little more geometric, but there is a point where all 10 of the swords are piercing a heart.
I'm looking it up. Yeah.
And I guess one of the things for me that's been a challenge, and that card will always trigger for me, especially to that one period in my life, is at what point when you're either grieving or hurting or feeling like you have, nobody around or nobody to, like everybody's kind of turned on you, or you just don't support. To me, there's a point where, obviously you have to feel all your feelings and you have to process what's happening. But also, I think that there's a point where you can either become really bitter and cynical, or you can kind of transcend your experience and move on to something else. And so with your permission, because it's really a short poem, I found this poem. I had heard it probably before, or I had heard a part of it before, but right at that kind of crucial point where I was still feeling the feelings, wanting to get past it, but also in a way you kind of hold on to it. It's a poem by Stephen Crane. It's called In the Desert. It's really brief.
Do it. Thank you so much.
In the desert, I saw a creature, naked, bestial, who, squatting upon the ground, held his heart in his hands and ate of it. I said, "Is it good, friend?" "It is bitter, bitter," he answered. "But I like it because it is bitter and because it is my heart."
Ooh, I got chills.
That one gives me chills.
Yeah, me too.
Ooh.
I do. I love that.
Like I got on my jawline too. Ooh, and you read a poem, you're good at that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was awesome. You nailed that. Yeah, that was really good. Who's that by?
The
She
poet's
didn't
name
look
is
at anything.
Stephen Crane.
Okay.
Yeah. Stephen Crane, and the title is In the Desert.
Okay.
And it's just, but if you actually look, what most people remember is because it is bitter or because it is hard. Even if you search it on that line, it'll come right up.
Okay, I will.
But yeah, so for me, for really dark periods of time, and that's, I guess, more emotional, psychological, it's still very frightening to me to be in a place where you're in pain and part of you wants to get beyond the pain and part of you is actually still sort of contrarily or strangely holding on to it just because it's yours. Right?
You know it too. It's habitual too, and it's yours. Yeah. It's part of what you think you are. You identify as it being part of you. Like your identity and what you've become. It shapes you.
Yeah.
You allow it to. I try to think of it differently, but sometimes it does that. I try to get out of that, but sometimes I'll find myself stuck in some 16-year-old insecurity, that I thought was long gone. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We all do that. Yeah.
And to Misty's point too, and kind of going back one step to transformation, the other question, okay, so it's yours, right? It belongs to you and it's part of your identity. The other thing is, who will you be without it?
Yeah.
No, I love that. That's my favorite thing. Yeah. Yeah. What kills you What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Mhm.
That's what I live off of.
But that uncertainty, right? If I let this go,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Yeah.
let this go and move forward. Who will I be? What will I be?
Yeah.
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 And
It's
that's
hard
hard
to
to do.
recognize it too. It's hard to for me anyway. It's hard to recognize when there's that attachment to a habit of thinking about something being an identifier of my identity, you know, who I am and my soul. You know, it's usually, you know, I found out through menopause that if you just forget it, it doesn't anymore. I'm not lying. You forget it and you don't remember it anymore. And then it comes back a couple years later and you're like, well, I didn't really like living with that identity piece. I'll think about this some more. You know,
Yeah.
or I need to deal with this one.
I'm just like you.
Yeah.
Maybe we should revisit this.
Well, I picked the moon card. And the reason why I picked the moon card is, I mean, I love animals of all sorts, but in the moon card, there's like this vicious looking dog, or I don't know, maybe a fox or some kind of animal, and he's got his teeth out and he's looking at the moon and he's just growling. Well, to me, that triggers back a memory of when I was probably about 8 years old, and we were all in sleeping bags on the floor at my grandmother's house. And I
What's up
remember
with the
waking
sleeping
up,
bags,
and
man?
I don't know. It was the 80s. Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, I woke up and there was this dog, a black dog, staring right at me with big red eyes. And it was so scary that I froze. I couldn't move. And I did the old move of putting the sleeping bag over my head and just telling myself this isn't real. I didn't see that. And then I eventually went back to bed. And then years later, I found out that my brother saw the same dog on the same night, but we never talked about it.
That's
so to me,
frightening.
that's pretty scary.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a Halloween
Yeah,
story.
Yeah, I got
Hellhound. Ooh. Good one. All right. I'm gonna get my Rider-Waite and I'm gonna shuffle
And
it up.
It's a full moon.
Oh yes, that's really weird. And you know that moon in the moon card's kind of weird. It's like a sun moon or a moon, it's
Right.
kind of crescent and a.
I know it is.
Yeah.
But it's a
person in the moon.
Because it's got rays almost the same way that the sun would have rays, and it is sort of a pale yellow. It isn't like
right.
I mean, although I've seen yellow or golden moons, but even orange, but this one, you know, it's not white or silver or silvery white or gray. It's sort of sun-like.
Yeah. It's a confusing. It's supposed to be a little confusing, I think. So I just shuffled my Rider-Waite, and now, listeners, I'm going to pull a card and tell you a scary story that I make up or think of. I hope I think of something. I might pick a different card if I don't. So I picked the 8 of Wands. That's a really hard card to make into a scary story.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to work with it, though. I can do it. I'll take the challenge. So, listeners, the 8 of Wands is 8 wands dashing, or they're rushing, or they're flying, or they're leaning, or they are just somehow going or down into the right, or they're going up into the left. Which way are they going? So, to me, okay, so once upon a time on this desert island, far, far away, the people who lived on this side of the island across the water on that island, they could see this little house, right? And there's a little house on this island across the water. So the little indigenous people, the natives of this island, they were like, we got to do something about that guy over there because he's probably trouble. So they got their magic wands, because they're magical people with wands, these people on the island. And they decided to do this certain kind of spell where they threw 8 of the magic wands, and it had to be 8 because 8 is the number of taking control in this population. And they just had to throw it across the water, but they missed. And then you reverse the card and they stop fighting the guy across. It's not very scary, but it's as creative as I can get. Later on, I would guess that guy would get ticked off, and it's just he's so isolated and lonely, and those people have it so good. So I feel like this guy up here, after he saw them attack him and being all suspicious because he saw it, he has a telescope. I mean, he watches them all the time. So I feel like he it's kind of like a little moat around his place, around his island part. So I think he got his sea monster in the moat. He ordered one off Amazon and he put it in there. And then the people on the other side, I don't think they were pretty happy about it because, the sea monster just started like eating their toes. That's where they used to soak their feet. And they couldn't soak their feet anymore because the sea monster would eat their toes. So it was kind of like, neighbors. It's just about neighbors and wands. All right, there you go. Not very scary. I did my best.
It's kind of a nice card. So
it's a really great card.
It's a scary card, right?
No. All right, your turn, Donna. Let's see what you got.
All right, let's see. Let's see what happens here.
All right, Donna.
All right, I'm shuffling my Rider-Waite. I'm actually going to pick the Rider-Waite card first, and then I may pick the corresponding card in Thoth. All right, let's see. Oh, well, okay. So they made it easy on me. I've got the Devil.
You get lucky. That's a great one. That's a great one.
I did get lucky.
I'm jealous.
Tell us a story about it.
So there actually are two people shown chained together in the Rider-Waite card at the Devil's feet. And I feel that these are people who purposely and intentionally decided to follow a dark path. Not in sort of that kind of playing around the edges, or finding out just enough to find a way to balance the dark with the light, but really going all.
Yeah, they have horns. Yeah.
Going into the dark. I mean,
they have
they have embraced it fully. They want and need that identification with what they perceive of, as the devil, which is this sort of this purely evil force, right? And with no counterbalance or no light to balance it out. And finally, he's got them where he wants them, but they were believing or hoping that by that full dedication, that they would have power like the devil does. And instead, what they've come to realize now at this moment is that since the devil is a liar, he's the prince of lies, he lied to them. And whatever power they may have had temporarily while they were doing their thing, on earth, now I feel like they're dead or dying. And they're completely under his control and they're subjugated by him because he would never allow them to have even a little bit of the power that he has, especially the power he has over human beings or over human souls, because they might try to challenge him, right? So he's going to keep them completely subjugated for eternity, basically.
Oh, it's terrifying.
That's scary.
That was really scary. I really like that. I was just noticing him. I've never noticed this before, but on the devil, he's doing the Vulcan salute.
Yeah, he's
Live long and prosper. It's terrifying.
Isn't that quite a coincidence? Yes. Well, ladies, I hate to tell you, but I've got the scariest one of all. Are
Ace
you
of
ready?
Cups.
I have the 10 of Pentacles reversed.
Oh.
Oh.
And
All right, that's
my story is going to be really terrifying. Okay. Once there was a man who had lots of money. He was a millionaire, but he was lonely. So he decided that he would try to find love. And he found this woman and fell madly in love with her. And everything was great until she spent all his money. And then she left him hanging dry. And he lost all his finances. He was lonely and he lost everything. The end.
That's devastating. Poor guy. Oh, what does he still love her? Does he still love her? That's what I need to know. Because if he does, it's the saddest, scariest story.
No, she took everything. She took everything from him. Everything. And
so he does
goodbye.
Still love her.
And he's like, what the heck? Well, of course he still loves her. But she was not the right one for him.
Oh no.
So
he needs to solve some problems within.
We all feel well, I think that we're all afraid of financial failure.
Yeah.
And we're all afraid of being lonely. And we're all afraid of loss. Well, that's what this card is all about. So to me, those are the scariest things you can get.
Right. That's pretty bad. That's like as practical and as like down to earth and as realistic as possible.
Yeah. Those are real life fears.
Yeah.
I told you.
Those are real life fears.
I had the best one.
Yeah, you had a terrifying. I'm not feeling too good, man. I'm gonna throw up and just take a cold shower and and eat something like a lot of food, and be grateful. I'm just kidding. But anyway, I have loved this. This was really fun. I was bitten by a black widow a few days ago, and I'm not feeling well. And it cheered me up a lot. And I would like to thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is everclear.com or an app, and you get your advice from psychics and empaths so you can gain the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And Donna and I are both on there. You're on Everclear, right, Donna?
I am on Everclear as Maria M.
Okay, yes, right. All right. So yeah, and I'm on there as Lisa P. I did. They asked, for us not to use a name we've used before, and I've used my real name before, so I was like, okay. Well, when I was in first grade, they called me Lisa Pisa. So I went with Lisa P.
I'm gonna start calling you that now, Lisa.
Yeah, it's always stuck in my head, Lisa Pisa, and it didn't mean anything. And they were trying to be mean when they did it. They're teasing, and not being. A
little rhyme.
Bert, it's the only one I've ever had. But anyway, Thank you, Everclear, and thank you, listeners, and thank you, Misty, Donna, and I love doing this podcast with you guys. We'll have another one real soon. I hope y'all don't sleep tonight or today, whenever you
or maybe sleep a little bit less easy. Just a little bit less easy.
Yeah. Don't you get financially lost either.
No.
That's what I had to say. I wish you all a good night.
Thank you. I had a wonderful time, as I always do. I am so glad that I was able to be with both Misty and Lisa tonight. Thank you both so much.
Yeah.
And I look forward to being with you again soon.